What's going on, guys? It's FTF Hush here, and I got FTF Heist with me. We are discussing all the CDL teams that got announced for 2023 season. We're gonna do a little tier list, and let's get going. Cole? What team do you want to start with?
Let's go with Gorillas.
Gorillas, okay. So what do you the Gorillas Los Angeles Gorillas roster is RCDs, Neptune, Hook, and Sport. I have hopes for this team to do well, but I don't think I don't know how they're gonna do, honestly. What do you think?
They'll be all right. Maybe decent at the beginning of the game, but I think that team's gonna implode because that team at 3 wasn't that good last year.
Yeah, but I fuck with that. I fuck with the trio, like just those players. I fuck with those players, and like I feel like this team is all dependent on their submachine gun players. Like Hook and Neptune have to do well.
Yeah,
they have to. If they don't, like they are screwed.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna get out of Spart and RCs, but
yeah,
if Neptune plays like he did last year, then this team's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
But since they're just a team of grinders, I think at least at the beginning of the game that they're probably going to be one of the better teams.
You think so?
Yeah.
So we have S, A, B, C, and D. Where do you place LAG, at least right now?
I think B would be fair.
Okay. I honestly don't hate that. I honestly don't hate that at all. I think that's a decent spot. It's either B or like top of C. Like nothing lower. Okay, so Boston Breach roster, because they didn't really make that many moves. They made one move, and I thought it was necessary. They replaced TJ for Awakening, so a little bit more firepower in the flex position, and they still have Methods as the main ER, and Vivid, and and they have Nero, as their other submachine gun player. I kind of fuck with it. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too. I think they needed some more slaying power, and that's what they needed.
Yeah, and if Zinni admitted, like, you know, this is like I think a week after champs. He was streaming, I was watching it, and he said he admitted that he probably could have played the hill more because his hill time was kind of much lower compared to like when he was like MVP in World War II. So he said he's hopping in the hill. He doesn't give a shit. So,
he's just a slow player. He's always gonna be slow.
I don't think he's that slow though. Like he's in between. Like I've seen him play really fast and do fry. So I think. Ooh, where do I put them though? I don't see them being A. I don't think they're good enough for some of these other teams. But
I can see them being B, but I can. This one's hard because I could see Gorillas being better than them, but I can also see Breach being better than Gorillas.
Yeah, me too. So, you think top of B at the moment? We're gonna kind of move around these as we get all the teams in there, because we're gonna have to rank them like if they're the top of B or the last part of B.
Yeah.
I'll put them in front of Gorillas.
Yeah.
I don't mind that so far. But I have high hopes for this team because I mean you gotta think about it. Last year they just brand new spot, and I'm so happy there's a Boston team now. I fucking love Boston. But they came in last. They kind of got like the scraps type players. There wasn't a lot of options left, and they did way better than some of the teams that were here for a couple of years. So I have high expectations for this team.
Yeah, it was definitely a win for the org this year. Everybody thought they were going to be a dead last team, and they're honest. I would say middle of the pack, but they had some really good moments.
I mean, shit, they almost beat round 11 with the LA Thieves at champs.
Yeah.
They almost beat them. Like, granted, the Thieves weren't playing that good, but shoot, they almost freaking sent them to losers. Like that would have been nuts. So. That's the Boston Breach. What's the next team you want to do?
How about Rocker?
Okay. Now, when you say Rocker, and I obviously I watch the Flank and we're in their merch right now. Shout out the Flank. Basically, when Pat talks about Rocker, he says they're basically like a shitty version of Ultra because because the roster changes they made. They have Attach, they have Bance, Afro, and Cammy. Personally, I don't think it's a shitty version of Ultra. I actually kind of fuck with this team a lot. I think the roles are pretty defined, and I think Afro's really, really good, and Bance is I think Bance and Afro should play well off each other for what playstyles they both have. And then Cammy's just gonna be Cammy frying everyone, especially when he's on, he's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And then Attach in his kind of like newfound AR role, I think he's gonna be really, really good. He's gonna be a good Slayer.
He'll be good.
He'll be good stat wise, and and he's a smart player, so he's gonna be holding spawns and rotating early and watching the right cut and watching over these guys. So what do you think about this Rocker team?
I think the ceiling's definitely there, but you're gonna have to get a really good. Bance is gonna have to be consistently really good because I can just see basically all of them being kill whores except for Bance.
You think even Afro too?
Yeah.
Think so?
Because Bance is gonna make his job so easy. He's gonna be like, oh shit, man, maybe I don't need to get in the hill right here. And then Attach is gonna bait everybody on that team.
Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure? Because like I'm assuming Rocker spent a lot of money on them. I think there's a lot of pressure for them to win, especially this year.
Yeah, but also but when you have those guys on your roster, you gotta at least be a top 3 team the entire year.
Yeah, I agree. Now, where would you put them on this tier list?
I think they deserve to be an A tier just off names alone.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because if you look at this team on paper, they look very good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I fuck with this team heavy, and I think I have obviously I said high expectations for Breach, and there's a lot of teams I think like just looking at the rosters, I'm like these guys should be really good, and this team is one of them. This was kind of surprised. I didn't know they were gonna go this route. It was definitely interesting, but this is definitely as you said, on names alone, this is the best version of Rocker we've seen, just on names.
Yeah. I think it also just depends on what kind of Cammy we get, because he had an off year, and then
Vanguard was Vanguard. I'm gonna give him a pass on that one.
Yeah.
Even though I thought he would have been discussing it as the way the game played, but maybe it was too fast. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but
MW2 should be. I mean, I think it should be a little slower just because there's no slide canceling and stuff, but there's the bunny hop and everything. So it's Major 1 is going to be very, very interesting because, I mean, not to talk about roster changes right now, but like, dude, like, if a team struggles, they're probably going to make a change right away.
Yeah.
I don't see them sticking out like Thieves did. Actually, talking about Thieves, a little segue. Let's do LA Thieves next. So they're running it back. They're the back-to-back champs, Major 4 and champs. They were fucking stressing me out, but they did it. There was a very roller coaster year with LA Thieves. I thought they're going to make roster changes. I thought they were going to drop certain players, and they never did. Suck it out. They got Shane. I knew they needed another coach, and they finally got Shane. I still think they need S&D analysts, but that's it's just my opinion. And they won champs. They won Major 4, and they made Vanguard at the end look pretty like they had like a system with Vanguard, which is kind of funny because Vanguard, is Vanguard, and the game is so chaotic. So I mean, me personally, just because they are the winner, they are the reigning champions, I gotta put them in S.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And if anyone, if you're new to the Call of Duty scene, the LA Thieves team is Draza, Kenny, Octane, and Envoy, with JCap and Shane as their coaches. What's the next team you want to do?
New York.
New York? Okay. Oh, this is an interesting squad. You go first.
This team is going to be awful.
Now, the roster is Hydra, Kismet, Priesta, Skies, and Wardy as the sub, and Sender as the new head coach, and DeReal as another coach. I just don't know what his... he might be like a secondary coach. So continue. So you think they're going to be horrible. Why do you think that?
I think Priesta is very overrated. I think this is Sky's first opportunity outside of Florida. I think he'll be good, but I think he just plays slower, doesn't he?
I don't know. I know he can run a sub too. Like he can play fast if he wanted to. It's more he can kind of flow with what the team needs. So he's going to be main. I would assume, or maybe Priesta. I honestly don't know. Like if you think about it, Skies should be the main, Priesta should be the flex, and then you have Kismet and Hydra.
Yeah. I could just see some like personal issues or people arguing if things aren't going very well.
Yeah,
from what we found out last year, they all just kind of imploded.
Towards the end.
Hydra isn't really that good of a teammate at all.
No, especially if he doesn't like you. You can't get past it.
Also, you were teaming with Crim6 and Clayster. I'd probably just want to quit after that.
I kind of I somewhat agree, but I kind of disagree with you at the same time. Like, I think this team could be really good. Like, the potential is there, but you're not. I can't say you're wrong about if shit is not going their way. I think it's gonna take a lot for them to not want to drop one another and shit.
Yeah.
And Sender and DeReal have it's all about culture, man. Like the culture last year on this team, it was unknown to us, during the year, but after we got, made known of it, like they need to do better, team culture and stuff outside the game. So I think if they could do that, I think they could be middle of the pack. I don't see them beating a very top tier team, personally. But one person that really sticks out to me, you think be Hydra, obviously he's gonna be slaying like crazy, is Kismet. I think he's not gonna bring crazy numbers, but he's gonna do the dirty work. He's gonna bring you crazy amount of comms, and he's gonna get the communication throughout everyone, top tier. I think that was a good keep. I think re-signing him from last season was a very good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you place them?
I would put them in C.
I would agree too. I think depending on where the other teams land, they might be top 2 of C, but I don't see them being a B team. If they're B at all, they're going to be at the last part of B. Yeah. Okay, so that's New York Subliners. What team do you want to do next?
Let's do Florida.
Okay, Florida. Does Brack, Major Maniac, Havoc, and Vickle, Dave Patty as the substitute. He's really good, by the way. I fuck with Dave Patty. He's just a little slow. But that's the team. I don't mind it, and I kind of agree with Zuma on the flank. Or I forget who. Maybe it was Zuma who said this, but basically this team reminds him of a Gen G from Black Ops 4 type team. And I kind of agree with him on that one. What do you think?
I think they are not going to be very good. Just why would they go that way? I don't understand.
I'm not sure about Havoc. I would have picked, me personally, I would have picked someone else. I know he has his up and downs. He was pretty nasty at Vanguard, but I know Vickle's pretty good. But I think I have a feeling those two's their submachine gun play styles are they might counter each other or not gonna play well off one another. They might be really. You have to admit they might be really good at S&D though. Really, really good.
Oh yeah, they're good. That's probably what they're gonna be made for. Yeah. But I am happy the Brack is back in the league because
he should have been back years ago, dude.
Well, it was Formal. Formal torched his name.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, that's why.
But dude, Brack, he stuck it out. After a while, I just kind of forgot about him. I'm not gonna lie. And then he was frying in Vanguard. He won the Challenger Champs, I think, and I think he won the Toronto one too for Challengers. And he made his way back to the league. I'm happy he's back too, because I know he's pretty nasty.
Oh, yeah.
I like Major Maniac. I have major, ironically major respect for him, but I like him a lot. He's really good communicator, really good S&D. He'll probably he's not going to get a lot of kills in hardpoint, but he's going to be making the right plays. I know that for sure. And I just don't know about this sub duo. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would say like, oh, I'm very optimistic, but I'm not sure. I really don't know. Where would you put them?
D.
D?
Yeah.
I honestly can't disagree. If it's either, for me, it's either D or like bottom of C. I couldn't go. I can go higher now. Obviously, once the season starts, each major we might do one. It's gonna change. Some teams will surprise us. Out of all these teams, at least a few are just gonna be like, oh shit, they're frying. They're actually pretty nasty this game. It's all the game to game. Hopefully this game plays a little bit like more fundamentally better than Vanguard. We're still gonna get squad spawns, those bastards. But hopefully it plays a little better. S&D might be a nightmare, but it's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Let's do Ultra next. Toronto Ultra, with a little squirrel in their emblem. I think it's adorable. So they have Insight. One thing too, I thought I would have been okay if Toronto stuck together. But they ended up not doing that. So now the new roster is Insight, Standy from Rocker, Kleenex, and Scrappy, who's the substitute for them last year. I really don't mind this roster at all. I actually think that if Standy can play like he did in Cold War, this team is gonna and Scrappy can duplicate what he did last year. Oh, this team's gonna be nasty.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, Hixie's their substitute, by the way.
Oh yeah, they were on that that Toronto Academy team, weren't they? Together?
Yeah. So if Standy isn't cutting it, like Vanguard, this is the thing with Standy. Yes, he appeared not to be playing that well in Vanguard, but if you look at it, if you just base off his stats, maybe he was making the right plays and maybe he was too fast for him, or just the game sucked. I don't know, but if you look at his stats, I think he had a 0.97 or something like that, or if it wasn't over a 1.02 or something like that, but he wasn't stat-wise, he wasn't absolutely dog shit. And if he can kind of do what he did in Cold War he just takes over. That is his game. He is the king of that game, dude. He's so nasty at Cold War. So if he can kind of duplicate that and MW2, this team is gonna be disgusting. Because Insight is I would say he's a super annoying AR to play against. He's always almost clutching 1v3s out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He does well. He does really well on the respawns too. And then Scrappy, he's gonna bring a lot of fire, a lot of shit talk, and comms, and he kind of came out of nowhere for me. I just started realizing he was playing well in Cold War, and he almost retired in Cold War because he couldn't find a team, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think the reason Standy's gonna have such a bounce back year is because he's gonna be playing with the sub player that plays at lightning speed. It's gonna be so easy to work with him.
Yeah, I agree. And Standy might be the one doing the dirty work. Kleenex, we all know what Kleenex does. He literally just runs at you and runs and guns. That's basically what he does. And obviously he'll sit in the hill if he needs to, but usually he's just going and he's frying. So where would you put? Actually, I don't know who their coach is at the moment. They haven't announced that because the Marky B is not there anymore. Marky B is now on Los Angeles Guerrillas. So that'll be interesting. So where would you put the Ultra?
I think if they played today, they'd beat Rocker. So I think maybe we should put them ahead of Rocker.
Okay. I don't. It's either for what I was thinking. He's either top of B or somewhere in A. But I don't mind that honestly. So let's go to everyone's favorite team. Paris, now the former Paris Legion, now the Vegas Legion. They moved from Paris to Vegas, which is probably a better idea than having Paris.
Yeah.
But So the Vegas Legion, I don't think they unveiled the new logo yet. I think it's the same, which is kind of a mistake in my opinion. But you know,
Yeah, I thought they missed the deadline for it.
that wouldn't surprise me. I think I heard that too. I'm not gonna lie. That whole organization is like run by like 4 people, so
Yeah.
they should bang my line. But so basically, this team. Las Vegas Legion. They have Temp from last year. Good. I think that was a good choice to keep him. TJ, Prolute, and Clayster, and they have Theory still as their coach. I think they need another coach in my opinion, and I mean if they want to go all out, they should get another coach, and they should get an S&D analyst. Teddy Rex is like such a good S&D like player, and he's not getting picked up by any teams, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's kind of...
So, I'll let you go first with this one.
I was watching the Point, and they were all roasting, and I remember Ben on there said, why wouldn't they just at least stick with the team they had beforehand? Because Jimbo wasn't even playing in the US, wasn't he? He was in Canada.
Yeah, he was.
So the only times he was any good was whenever they were on land, and he did play well. But this team, I just don't think it's going to change that much, honestly. The Pro pickup to me is really weird because I feel like they just need someone a lot more aggressive. So I'm assuming Clay's going to be main,
Yeah.
Don's going to be flex,
Yeah.
and then Tej and Prolute. That's probably, I mean, you can't rank that sub duo pretty high at all.
No, but there is the outlier. Tej wanted to run a sub last year. TJ Halley, if you're new to the scene, TJ Halley was on Boston Breach last year, and they wouldn't allow him to run a sub because they have Capsidal and Nero. He wanted to run a sub, but basically, if he didn't play the flex position, he would have been out of. He wouldn't have made it to the league. So he kind of like forced himself to play a flex. Which at times he fried and at times he got shit on, I'm not gonna lie. It all depends if TJ could be a really fast aggressive sub, because I agree, I think Prolute is like the slower type, and he'll play hill and shit, he'll do the dirty work. And don't forget, Prolute was a really good sub in Cold War. Like I'm pretty sure he won Challenger champs. I'm 90% sure. So like he just played flex on Optic when Illy had his thumb issue, because he could. You know, like he's a good enough player to do that. So I think this is definitely. I mean, out of all the teams, this is definitely the best version of the roster, like of Legion. This is definitely the best version, right?
I mean that MW roster is probably better, but
yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't hate it. I just don't think they're going to be successful. Just like
they're not going to be that good, but you know,
they'll surprise a few teams.
I'll root for them because they'll be the team that nobody expects to win. But I just think I don't think Timp and Clayster are going to be able to mesh well.
They're gonna have to make some personality changes. One of them is gonna have to, because like Temp is either gonna be like, look, Clay's one of the goats, and he is 3-time world champion, bunch of different tournament wins. Like you gotta listen to the guy. He clearly knows how to win. So I think Temp. It's more on Temp to listen to what Clay's doing, and then also like that's why I think they need another coach to kind of help gather ideas and talk about strategies and like work through problems they're having with it, because it's going to be communication at first. So I think it relies on Temp to listen to what Clay is saying. He's the veteran. He's going to be your main, so you got to listen to him. He, as I say, clearly knows how to win. So, and I think if Temp listens, Temp is a really good freaking player. So he's a really good flex to have, and I'm assuming it's going to be 2 AR. Like 2 AR, 2 sub. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's how it's been the past 2 years. So
yeah, it also depends on the map. If the map is kind of small, you usually run 3 subs. But I think this team has some potential, But this is like more of a wait and see. But I would just assume they're probably not going to do that well. So I'm sure you would agree with me. We're gonna put him at D, and they're probably in the last spot.
Yeah, probably.
Anything else you want to say about Paris or Vegas? I'm gonna be doing that a lot this year.
A lot of people are saying Pro League's gonna get exposed. That's all I've seen, and
I think I like him as a player, so I'm rooting for this team. I actually am. Like I'm not gonna buy their merch or shit, but I'm like when they're playing, I want this team to I want their team to succeed. Now, will they succeed? I'm not sure. But so anything else you want to say besides Pro League's gonna get exposed?
No, absolutely. I don't have anything else.
I mean, I know this is Glaciers possible last year if he does bad, and the same thing for TJ. If TJ doesn't do good, I mean, I think at the most, and if he gets lucky, he'll get a sub spot next year. But like, if he does bad, like I don't see him getting back in the league anytime soon. But
TJ really is the Geno Smith of the CDL.
My God. I think he could fry though. Like I'm hoping he does. I just like I hope his team does well, but we'll find out. What's the next team you want to do?
Let's see. Let's do London.
Okay, so the London roster, as I said in the beginning of this video, it hasn't been officially announced yet. They're having some like, I don't know, there's been buyouts for the management and shit and like the whole team, so they haven't really announced anything. But it's Zero, Asim, Paul X, and Nasty.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Go ahead.
I remember listening to Parasite talk about this team, and he just thinks this team's going to be mid. Mostly just because all these guys they don't really have a superstar. They have Paul, which Paul has shown that he could be very good.
Yeah.
I would never want to go to champs with Zero because he gets dead last pretty much every time. Asim has shown that if he can just get into a really good rhythm, he can play very well against top teams. Obviously, he beat FaZe last year in a grand final.
Yeah.
But I just don't think the consistency is going to be there enough for them. I could see Paul had a hand in that New York drama last year.
Yeah.
And I could just see after like maybe one or two events, I could see them trying to make a change.
I agree, especially if they don't do well. If it all depends if, like, yes, they could come out and fry, but like we're gonna assume they're not, just based off like chemistry and teamwork and stuff like that. If this team sees potential in themselves, they won't make a change. But if they're like, yeah, we got no hope. Like they're gonna, I think it could be a 2-person change. I don't think it's gonna be 1 person. I'm surprised. I mean, I think Zero's still pretty good, but he's gonna have to really fry this year. But I kind of agree with you. Like I'm not sure. Like I could see this going 2 ways. These guys are either gonna like be disgusting out of nowhere, or they're gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So where would you rank them on this tier list?
I would put them just below New York in C tier.
Okay.
For now, because I can see them being good out of nowhere, but I can also see them just not playing well at all.
Same. I think I was either gonna be like kind of maybe top of D or like in like bottom, like near bottom C for me.
It just depends on how Zero is, because London was good last year, but then Zero would lose full so easy, and I guarantee that is such a vibe kill.
Oh, I bet. There's gonna be some definitely like between personalities and just like being a good teammate. I mean, we weren't behind the scenes at all with them, but I think some people, if he's gonna lose full, he needs to change that. Asim is gonna bring a lot of good communication, and I think Paul X will bring that too. Those are two. I think they got good players. Like I don't know how I still feel about Nasty being a sub. like as a sub. Apparently he had like similar numbers to Afro. So maybe
Almost
if like maybe if Asim's doing the dirty work, this maybe could like the team could flow well. With like Zero's main, Pollux is a flex. And Pollux is a good player, man. Like I really like him. So we'll kind of have to. This is a very wait and see team, because I can't really be like, yeah, this team's gonna be pretty nasty. And it's like I'm not really confident in saying that yet. Anything else?
I'd be more confident saying they're gonna be ass than good.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a roster I didn't know what they're gonna do. I thought, me personally, so New York has Wardy as their substitute. I was like genuinely surprised London wasn't super aggressive and getting Wardy as their main sub, because apparently he's like disgusting, and he did really good in challenges last year, and it could have been like I think it would have been pretty cool because I think he's from I don't know where he's from, but he's from the UK, I think. So I think that would have been like perfect fit. But and also Beans. I'm surprised that like I love Paul X, but like I'm surprised they didn't go after Beans. Like probably would have been a little cheaper because he's a challenger guy. Could have given the minimum or like maybe like 60k.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised they aggressively didn't go after those two and be like, hey, we want Zero, Beans, Wardy, and Nasty. Like, I kind of would have fucked with that team maybe even a little more. Like, I like all these players on London. Nasty, I'm like still not sure about, but I think he'll prove me wrong. But I don't know if I like all those players together with this London team. So I think with Wardy and Beans would have been a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too.
So let's go to Seattle, because they didn't make any changes at all. They stuck it out and then for another year. It's Accuracy, Mac, Sib, and Pred, and then I think Phoenix is back as their head coach. I'm perfectly fine with them, running it back. I think they were good. They were better than I thought they were going to be. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about Seattle running it back?
I can understand why. I mean, obviously they won an event and they had a pretty good chance, but they're gonna look back at this year and they're gonna kick themselves for not dropping Lamar for Mercedes.
You think so?
Yeah. Because this team's not gonna win this year.
I semi-disagree, and I'll tell you why. I think Mac is like, whatever. I'll kind of leave him out of it, because I think he's good, and he surprises everyone all the time. Also, we both kind of shit on each other in a Black Ops 4 pub. I was going toe-to-toe with him, so I just want everyone to know this. And so it really, for me, relies on Sib and Pred. And also, I know you talk about accuracy. I'll get to that in a second. Sib and Pred, obviously, Pred needs to be the MVP that he was for this team, that he was in Vanguard. He was by far one of their best players. And Sib is absolutely disgusting, and he needs to continue being disgusting into this game. And I think he will, because there's no slide, as far as we know, no slide canceling. Now, when it comes to Lamar, I think he will be better than he was last year, because this is it should be a little bit slower, and there's not going to be like bullshit slide canceling. And as always, the AR is going to be ridiculously overpowered. So,
yeah.
I think he actually may have a better year this year than he did in Vanguard. As for the reason I just said, because I could talk in circles about this shit, but
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I think this team's gonna be pretty good. Will they win? I'm not sure, but I think they'll be at least top 4, in my opinion.
Yeah,
or top 5.
I don't know why I said they won't win. If they can win, but Sib and Pred are gonna have to do everything like they did last time.
I think actually it will surprise everyone with how good he will be. Now, if he's asked, then if he's asked this year, you are 110% correct about they should have picked up RC, because he would have slotted in pretty well. But they have good team culture. These guys really like each other. They're all friends. They know what they need out of each other. They know how to critique one another without rubbing someone the wrong way, which is important. especially in this esport, because people get butthurt really quickly.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you say you're doing something wrong. So I think this team would be pretty good. Now, where they land on this tier list? Oh boy. Maybe an A.
I think A. I think it'd be kind of unfair if we put them in anything other than A.
Yeah, I agree. Now, but okay, so where should they stand? Should they be? They probably should be higher than Rocker, right?
Yeah.
But are they higher than Ultra?
See, that's kind of hard because it just depends on how Toronto plays. Because I think Toronto is going to be nasty. I think Stratton is going to be just filthy.
I hope so too.
But if I compare, if every single player played their best, I think Seattle would still beat them.
Okay. I agree with that. I think I'm happy with them being second right there. Okay, so unintentionally, we left Optic and FaZe as the last two. I think we could let's do FaZe really quick because they made one change and it was Slasher for Arcides. If you're new here, it's going to be Slasher, Celium, Simp, and Abizi. Personally, I put them right in S. I think they're going to be disgusting, just like always.
I think they'll be really good if Slasher just doesn't completely kill the vibes of this team, which I think he's going into it knowing he's the worst player on the team, so I think he'll probably keep his ego in check a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think
he's still frying, man. He did really good in Vanguard. It kind of goes over the people's head because LA Gorillas didn't do much after that, season 2, Major 2 win. But he was like frying in Vanguard and had nothing to show for it. So like if he does the same thing he did on Gorillas on FaZe with all those players around him, man, they're gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think all in all it's gonna be a good move. It's just can you just replicate what Alec did just a little better? Probably.
It was unexpected too. Like I didn't think they were gonna change. I just assumed they were gonna try it one more time as that roster. They struggled in Vanguard, but like a FaZe struggling, they get second at everything besides one event. They got third at I forget where. Like they got third at Major 4, I think, and they got second at Champs.
Yeah, I think this team's gonna be pretty good. It's just especially even if it's a slower paced game, I could see them being nasty.
Yeah, because like I know everyone thinks about Simp Easy. They love slide canceling and fucking challenge and everything, but like these guys prefer the COD where you don't have to slide cancel and you can jump chow shit and it's positioning based. So this team could be even deadlier than it was before. So yeah. So I mean I wouldn't say we left the best for last. But this team. Optic Texas, it's gonna be pretty good. Now, this is the last team we have, and Optic ran it back. Originally they possibly had a team change. I don't know what happened there. The process hasn't even dropped yet, which is at the moment, at the time of filming this, which is kind of crazy. Like I don't know what their holdup is for that one. But for Texas, it's Scump, Shotzi, Illy, and Dashi. I don't mind them running it back one more time. I think Illy's thumb injury kind of fucked everything over, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about them running it back?
I don't mind it, but I just wish I knew more of like what was going on because it seemed they tried to play it off as a troll, but it was obviously not a troll.
No.
I think Dashi screwed up. If I was Dashi after that year, I would have been like, yo, I'm going to FaZe, dude. I'm winning.
Apparently they never even contacted him.
Yeah, that's probably cap. There was at least one DM sent. Because it's Dashi.
It's possibly, yeah.
But I'm just projecting. But I don't know. Shotzi's got to be more consistent. Illy's got to be way more consistent. Dashi needs to be a superstar. and Scump just needs to drop higher than a 0.9, and I think this team will be good. But it just gotta be like internal issues if they have a really bad first event, I can see them being like, oh man, here we go again.
Yeah, I know.
We dealt with all that crap last year, and looks like things aren't gonna get much better. But I mean, obviously, this team has the talent to win. It literally is all on like just the mental and like what I have to say about it. I just wish I knew more about what was going on.
I agree, and apparently this has been an Optic trend. They start out really hot. They usually get ahead of the curve. They win an event, and then they become less and less effective as the year goes on. I think... Oh, man. I'm fine with them running it back. As you said, I agree. I want to know what happened. I always thought it was a lock. Like, I thought like the teams not making changes for sure was FaZe, Optic, and maybe Ultra. And obviously LA Thieves, but you know that they did one champ, so I knew they weren't changing shit. But I really want to know what happened too, and I think they're gonna have to get through the problems they had last year, and hopefully Ellie's thumb is okay. I know he can play the whole year and not be injured. So I want Ellie to play at his full potential, because I want to see what this team can actually do. Because if they can pull off what they did in Major 1 in Vanguard, this team is going to be a top 3 team all year. I think they have. I think they're going to get. I think it hasn't been announced yet, but I think they're going to get JP Perez as their analyst, and he is really really good at that shit.
That would be a very good pickup.
It'd be extremely good. That would be. And I still think they need an S&D analyst to help, with the S&D game. I think every team needs one. That's just my opinion. I don't care how good. I don't care if you have all S&D stars. You can always use an extra person for the C from like an outside perspective. But I think they need an S&D analyst. But getting JP Perez as the analyst, really good idea if they do get him. And keeping obviously Rambo. He's a great coach. So. He made a couple mistakes last year with like vetoes, but I think he even admitted it. Like he made some mistakes and he's learned from them. So I think if they're all playing at their full potential, this team is going to be very very good. But where do they land on this tier list, Cole?
I don't think it would be fair for them to be an S at all. I think I'd put them in A between Surge and Rocker.
Ooh, see, I don't know. I think they should be top of A.
Well, Surge knocked him out of champs.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. We're gonna catch some flack for this. I'm not gonna lie. But as Jay says, you know what? Fuck them. So.
It's just our opinion. Unfair at all, because they
did knock him out.
They were literally placing top 6 every event except for maybe one.
I mean, the Illy thing, the Illy situation didn't help at all. If they were placing top 6 with Illy, I know he was starting to have the thumb issue in Major 2. So
people on that team were glad that he got his thumb injured, because they're like, man, now we can just use that excuse if we lose.
I'm honestly not sure, but like hopefully everything is okay this year and he's good to go and he can play all year no problems.
I hope so. There's no excuses.
Because like this will really tell if this team is disgusting, which on paper this team should be. This team should be winning almost everything. They should be going against FaZe in every grand final, every event. But we'll see how they do. I'm hoping that I'm rooting for them. They're one of my teams, along with LA Thieves and Boston. Like I love them. So I'm hoping for the best. I want to see them win, for viewership mainly, but I want to see them win because I think it'd just be good for everyone, honestly. So I mean, I think that's about it. I mean, we hit every team. My only concern with this list, and I want to ask you this before we end this video, and I have to cut out a lot because this is almost an hour long. We're a bunch of chatty Cathys. I think Raven should be in D, and then Florida should be low C.
Okay, that's fine.
You fine with that?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose, I'd put them both in D. But
I think Florida's good enough to be at least in like low C. I mean, or high or top D, but I think this makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So all right, so now this is our official tier list. You know, if you made it this far, you're a real one.
Yeah.
And you know, if you have a different opinion, let us know in the comments. This has been FTF Hush. This has been FTF Heist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.